Okay, everybody, welcome to this week's Lolian at night. I'm not Rabbi Lolian, but I'm his backup. So we're gonna keep the floor open. I'm not gonna be like lecturing. It's gonna be more of an interactive. So if there's any questions, you can interrupt at any time when I'm speaking. You can just interrupt me and just ask or contribute. Like, it doesn't even have to be a question. It could be a comment, whatever. I want it to be more interactive than just lecture style. But I got a tip from last time I spoke here that a lot of people are interested in the topic of relationships. Good night, guys. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Oh. Relationships. I'm not just talking about the philosophical concept of making a relationship, but no, I'm talking about Maria. We got a boy and a girl. We got a guy and a gal. Relationships are everything. The world is made of relationships. Let's go a little bit philosophical, and then we're going to bring it down to the actual subject. A relationship means a connection between 2 points. You have two-ness already. You've already got multiplicity. And a connection between these 2 points, that's called relationship. Our connection to Hashem, that's a relationship between 2 points. And then the line connects us. If you're connecting to the line. What's the line? It's the Torah. The line that connects you to Hashem is the Torah. That's just a separate subject. If I'm talking to you, I'm immediately making a line with me and you. And we begin transferring intellectual energy, whatever it might be. If we're having a philosophical conversation, there will be intellectual energy flowing back and forth. Or between a father and a son, there's probably going to be some intellectual but also emotional attributes flowing from the father and the son. These are lines of connection. So now let's bring it down. What does a man and a woman represent in this physical world? In order to know what happens in the physical and how it works, you have to see how it applies in the spiritual worlds. You can't actually understand the truth or the logic behind why reality is the way it is down here until you go to the root of that item. You chase it down to its spiritual source, which is done through the Torah. Through the Torah, you can acquire the skills that reveal to you the truth that exists within the physical world. And then you see the spiritual essence of that item, and you understand it, you see it, you experience it. This is all done in the mind. How do sages of Kabbalah, how do they do their work? How does it work? They go to their upper 3 faculties: wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. The world of the mind, they look and observe and understand and see and interact with the truth of that item, and then they can immediately understand how that works in this physical world. So we have to understand that the males and females of the physical world are one in the spiritual worlds. Male and female energies are one in the spiritual worlds. They're not split in half. In the physical world, we are separated into containers called bodies, where there is a distinction being made between the female and the male. But that's what the whole point of Soulmates is. And now we understand how this applies to our relationships here in the physical world. Because upon entering this physical world, your soul was split in half, and the female aspect of the soul was placed into Natalie, and the male aspect of your soul, was placed in another container. That's your soul. And he is your soul, you are his other half. Because whatever a soulmate means, it means that you and that person were supposed to meet up and have that relationship. That was the way it was supposed to be. Now we're going to learn in a second that doesn't always happen. There's reasons why people don't end up finding their soulmate, and there are reasons why some people do end up finding their soulmate. Most people, I'm just going to break the news, from what I've learned from my rabbi who taught me this, that according to Kabbalah, most people don't end up finding their soulmates. Very, very hard sentence, but that's one thing to keep in mind at the beginning. Most people don't end up connecting with their intended soulmate. However, it's not just one. There is one that is the perfect and the utmost and the easiest straightforward path that you have to just go and find that person and you will find your soulmate. But it depends on the worthiness, not of the women, but of the men. The females are off the hook. The men are the ones that need to attract the right vessel. Not the women that have to attract the right light. Because men are the light. And women are the place. Are the house. They are the home of that light. She is the owner of that light in a certain sense. But also they own each other. The light, the man is the balabait. But the woman is the akeret habayit. They both got the word bait in the name, so I think it's yeah. But
so how do you know you found your soulmate?
Okay. You went right to the chase. So let's see. How do you know if you have not found her, or how you have found her?
Both. Yeah.
Okay. I guess it would be the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. What if you're second guessing maybe a relationship you're in or something?
Give me a second. It's very hard to hear. That's why. It's a very, very hard thing to hear. But we have to understand how you can connect and become the best light so that you can attract the right partner. How do you know if you've attracted her, if you found her? You will know if you've met her.
Okay. Well,
But you have to know what to look for in order to recognize. What are you supposed to be looking for? A nice body? Ah, she's my soulmate. Oh, soulmate, not body mate. So, what are you supposed to look for in order to know that this is my soulmate? There's 3 levels of marriage that involve the soulmate. One of them, the lowest one, she was your soulmate, but the way it turned out is that she actually has a lot of things that you don't like about her. There's a lot that you do like in her, but there's attributes in her that you don't like about her. And that becomes your inner struggle. Because it's all upon the man to be the best light that he can be, to attract the right home. The bird goes and first builds the house, the male birds. They go and they build nests. And then they find their mate. And then they find their mate. They first build the nest. They're ready to provide. They're ready. They want to. They're driven from their inner will to provide, to give, not to be a receiver anymore of this world, but to be a provider. Yes, you'll inevitably be receiving. You got to receive in order to give. But you're receiving in order to give, not receiving just for the self alone. Until we don't wake up to the desire to receive for the sake of giving, which is what we call being a provider, a father, a co-creator, as what we're supposed to be, by tapping into our giving aspect, not our receiving aspect. And that's where the issue of good and evil comes into play. That there are some things in this world that are good, and there are some things in this world that's not good. It's very simple. 2 categories of, you can call it energy, you can call it whatever you want. The mitzvot are here to outline to us the division, the line. But not just doing the mitzvot, understanding the mitzvot. And seeing how that mitzvah is really a principle. That if I learn that principle, that idea, it will reveal to me a whole lot more information about reality according to the path that I've taken. That's the path of going into the Torah. Doing the law, performing the commandment, wrapping the tefillin, is the external aspect of the mitzvah. Without the external aspect, you can never get to the internal. But it doesn't stop there. That's where 99% of the religious world goes wrong. They think that because they have done the mitzvah, that now they are doing it, they're superior. Look, I'm connected. No, you're not necessarily. In fact, most people who try to connect to Judaism, to connect to Torah, to connect to God in a true way, they're not gonna do it just by doing the blind mitzvot. They're gonna do the mitzvot, but they're gonna go and open up a book of, let's say, Zohar. Whoa, this guy just jumped from doing a mitzvah to going straight to mysticism. Some souls are like that. Some souls are like that. Not everybody. Some will go to the ethics. Some people are attracted to more Pirkei Avot, which is ethics. And they want to look like character traits, character building. This is something very important, self-development. That's Pirkei Avot. Some people are attracted to more practical. I want to know the laws. I want to understand. I want to see the dividing lines between good and bad. Learning the laws gives you fear of God. When you learn the laws, you feel awe. Because you realize, oh my goodness, look at how deep and detailed this law is. Why such an irrelevant, deep and detailed law is so necessary? This law, I will never come across this circumstance ever in my life, but I still have to learn this law. Why? And that's the beauty of Torah learning. Is that the more you go inward, you see that everything's connected. The external aspect, what we call the halakha learning the laws, why does it give you fear? Because it gives you more structure. What we call in Kabbalah, in Hebrew, gevurah. Gevurah. That means strength or restraint. It's the power that a person has to make boundaries. That's what gevurah represents. The ability to set a boundary. Most guys, on average, from what I know, because I'm a guy, they'll have many different types of motivations in their life. It's not just going to be a motivation that's coming from a desire to give all the time. No, we also have desires to receive. So, the whole pathway to understand the relationships is for, number one, men need to know the Torah. The men need to know the Torah. If the men don't know the Torah, from what I understand so far in my learning with my rabbi, and he's a Kabbalist and he's taught me this, that's why I know this. You cannot get to the soulmate without being the proper light. And how do you get to become that light? Is through learning the Torah. You learn that you are light, you are a provider. The nature of light is to illuminate. Men are made to shine. They're like the sun. Men are compared to the sun. The moons are the females. Moons. They are moons. What do? They receive the light. From where? Where does the moon receive its light from? The sun. The woman is the vessel. The man is the fulfillment of that vessel. And we even see this dynamic in biology. Look at the way that the male physique is created. It is a convex shape that enters into a what's the other word? Concave vessel in the female figure. Why is the male convex, but the female is concave? Okay, why? That's in the biology, but the question is why? The man represents the fulfillment. We have to understand it's so deep. And the woman represents the vessel. The sperm and the egg. The sperm is the soul that's looking for some body to fulfill. It's on its way down to the physical world. That's what sperm is. It's soul energy. It's soul energy. That's, if I can put it in one word, soul energy. That's what sperm is. And whenever it meets its mate, meaning it plants itself in an egg. And from the union of this sperm and this egg, creation happens. By virtue of who? The woman. Without the egg, this sperm is nothing. Without the egg, this sperm is worthless. That's how he feels. Men will become depressed. Men will go deep into their emotion. They won't admit it. But I heard a quote once. A lot of men suffer from silent, silent longing or silent yearning, where no one knows. Their family won't know. Their sisters won't know. Their friends, their best friends, but they know that without a vessel, a proper vessel to contain the light that I want to give, not just a vessel, not just find a vessel on the street and go, no, to find the right woman is everything. It's everything. So how do I attract the right woman? Be the best man. Be the best man. Be a provider. Be a strong man. But not just physically. If you don't have the physical part, then that's priority. Priority. Men, according to halakha, you have to work out. You have to go to the gym. I'm not that buff, but at least to stay fit. It's a halakha. This is basic Jewish law. You have to work out. You have to be healthy. Or have some job that gets you to work out. This body needs to become tired before you sleep.
I have a question. So from what I've understood, a man knows he has gotten his soulmate when he's reached his full potential and then finds like the one for him.
Exactly.
So how does a woman know that she found her soulmate?
Okay. It gets a little bit harder. Because women are very different than men. So when it comes to women, there's a very big confusion that will come into this equation if, and I'm going to say something that's a little bit explicit, but, and in today's age it's not politically correct to say this, but Torah is Torah. That if a man were to sleep with multiple women, okay, there is actually room for discussion, but only in a world where the men have reached their full potential and they're not doing it for selfish reasons, but rather to bring more kids into the world. And the woman doesn't feel jealous. Imagine a world where everybody is on board. So that's the way it was. Jacob had 4 wives. But the rabbis came in and said, That's what they did. They literally came in and said, But Jacob did, Hashem put us in charge of figuring out the laws in this physical world, how we're going to implement the Torah. The world is too impure. The men are the character traits are not correct yet. They're not ready for this. It's illegal from a rabbinical standpoint to do that today. That's what the truth is. This is the truth of what the Torah explains. It's illegal now for this reason. Men are not of the right quality, and the women also of not. Everyone is demoralized today. Compared to the way that we were, as Bnei Israel, children of Israel, before the exile, we knew all of these things. It was because of the persecution that we lost touch with it. Because of the exile, because of our shortcomings. So how does a woman know if she's found the right man? She has to be, first of all, have a pure heart. Pure heart. If she has a pure heart, she can feel her longing to be with a man. Because the women have a desire to receive. Men have the desire to give. The motivations are different. The man is constantly looking for where I can give. Who wants to receive from me? I'm the son, baby. Who wants to receive from me? Come. That's the ego of the man. But the woman desperately desires to receive the right amount of light for her deep desire. Because women are made of desire, but men are also made of desire. It's just a different type of desire. The man wants to give. It's an outward pouring. It's chesed. That's what we call chesed. It means giving. It means loving kindness. And the woman represents the vessel. She just wants to receive. But then to create the child. She receives in order to create a child, which means she also has the attribute of giving. She also has the attribute of giving. So do men have the attribute of receiving? Yeah, men also have the attribute of receiving. They receive children. The joy of his life. So there is a giving and receiving dynamic between the man and the woman. The woman will know if she's met her soulmate because she will feel the lack if it's not. They'll be together, they'll be married, and she'll still feel at the end of the day, this vessel of mine is not satisfied. Men have an obligation to satisfy their wives. Obligation. And it does not go the other way around in Jewish law. They have an obligation to satisfy their wives in 3 areas: financially, mental, emotionally, and physically. They have the obligation to satisfy their wives in Jewish law. And if the woman is feeling or seeing that she's not receiving these 3 areas, she has the right to file a divorce, according to Jewish law. It's very interesting. We don't encourage divorce. Today, 75% of all marriages end in divorce. But in the Jewish world, it's obviously different. Because we have Torah. Even if you're not somebody who studies Torah every day, you still have Torah. You're Jewish. Just the fact that you're Jewish, that your parents were Jewish and their parents were Jewish, that they passed down a certain exemplification of what it means. Torah is not something you learn in a book. It's something that you live. You express through the way you live physically. If it stays up here, not necessarily you're a good guy. That's why I said, not just because you're religious means you're connected. Just because you have something up here. Okay, they're learning 10, 20 hours a day. I'm not putting it down. We should all try to learn wherever we can. More deeply into the Torah. Not just going around the surface area, but to go deeper into the Torah. That's the obligation of a man, a Jewish man. Is there any questions? No? It's 8:25. We've got a lot of time. So, I'm going to wait to see if anybody has any questions. If not, we can move on to a different subject. You can recommend subjects too if you want. Nobody? No questions from the ladies section? Okay. So, did we understand the part about the soulmates though? About how the man and the woman, the man will know if he's found his soulmate or not by looking inside himself and seeing whether he's trying his best to be the best type of person he could be. He won't feel satisfied either. If he hasn't found his soulmate, he's not going to feel satisfied either. The relationship has to hit something. It has to hit something deep within the soul of both partners. Where you feel something that we call in Hebrew, emet, the light of truth. There's a point that exists within you. It's right here. What is it called? The sternum? Yeah. This is a very important point in the body. Very, very important point in the body. In Kabbalah, they split this section up into 3 parts. Remember, Kabbalah is the wisdom of mysticism, which means that they understand the entire physical body deeply. No one's probably explained that to you this way, but this is actually what Kabbalah is. It's the study of the human body. When you understand the human body, which you can only understand that through what? Torah, Kabbalah. Torah and Kabbalah. Not Torah without Kabbalah. That doesn't work either. That doesn't work either. People have tried. People are trying right now. Torah without Kabbalah. It's not working. My opinion. You can disagree if you want. But Torah with Kabbalah allows you the pathway forward to reach your full potential. Without the internal essence, just having the laws is not going to work. I think here we have a pretty good crowd. People want to find their soulmates. It's all about being the best partner that you can be for the other person. Don't ask, God, just give me my soulmate. Pray for the soulmate. Oh, I hope she's the right one. Please, I hope she's the... No. Wrong focus. The focus of your attention should be on yourself. Hashem, please give me the willpower. Please give me the strength and the capability to build myself up into the best damn possible version of myself that's available. Tune into my soul. Please help me tune into my soul. That's the question. That's the aim of the focus. You want to be in the right relationship? Turn your direction inward. Stop going outside and going to the club and going to these street corners and trying to find the right girl. No. Wrong focus. Wrong aim. It doesn't come from the outside. It comes once you've recognized that point of truth. When you connect to this point of truth, where you go down into a period of teshuvah, you do teshuvah. When you do teshuvah, you go down into this point of truth. You begin to connect with this point of truth. Because that, my friends, is the soul. That's the soul. The point of truth within you is the soul. And when you're connecting to it, you do teshuvah. That's the natural experience of connecting to this feeling is teshuvah. Because you automatically recognize the kingship of Hashem. When you feel this point of soul, you recognize the kingship of Hashem. It's an awareness. It's not coming through books. If you understand what I'm saying, I'm not talking about external activities. We're talking about a very deep and internal look at who you are, to discover what you're made of and what you're capable of. That means you have to bring healing to yourself. Men and women have an obligation to be healthy. This is a mitzvah of the Torah. You have to be healthy, not only physically, emotionally and mentally. I don't know about you, but I have emotional problems. I'm being very direct. I also have mental problems. I can explain those too. But we have to check those things out. Because they're all rooted in the childhood, your interaction with your family. Your parents represent something. Yeah. Is everything okay? Where's my leave off? Okay, come off course. So something.
Emotional health.
Right. Emotional health and mental health. So these are the three areas of our life. This is what we call the vessel. Who knows how to spell the word vessel in Hebrew? How do you spell the word vessel in Hebrew? Kli. Chaf, Lamed, Yud. The vessel of a person is made of three levels. In Kabbalah, we explain these three levels as the physical, the emotional, and the mental. These are the three stages of a person's vessel. Your body, your heart, and your mind. This is what you've got to work with. You've been plotted onto this world, and the tools that you were provided to survive and flourish are right here. Your mind, your heart, and your body. This is all you have to work with. Yeah, people can help you here and there, but they're not reliable. You have to rely on yourself. You can't rely on people. You can't rely on governments. You can't rely on society. That's the reality. You can't rely. You have to be able to trust your own capability. But where does your own capability come from? And this is the point. That capability comes from your soul, which is one with Hashem, which gives you the willpower and the strength and the intelligence and the capability to carry out what you need to do in this world. When you're connected to the soul, you're connected to the life force energy, which directs you on your way. It's like having Hashem with you everywhere you go. When you're connected to the soul, you're connected to Hashem. And you're going in a flow state towards your final destination, which is ultimate potential being actualized as an individual in this world. This is your toolkit. It's not the hammers. It's not the screwdrivers. It's not the tanks. It's not the Iron Dome. It's not the IDF necessarily. If Hashem wants, He can choose to withdraw His presence from wherever. How do you think Hamas was successful in their attack on October 7th? It's because there's a weakness that exists within Israel. It's not because Hamas is the problem. No, don't look out. Go in and you'll find out why Hamas was successful on October 7th. Look at yourself. Now I understand. Because we are the chosen people and we're supposed to be an example for the world. And when we fall short of living up to this example, anti-Semitism increases. This is the game of life. This is the world. But this is your toolkit. Not your phone, not the AI. All these people are going crazy about AI.